So, Tony Khan is back with another paid advertisement during Impact Wrestling on AXS TV this week. Now, we knew this was going to happen, and we're keeping up the tradition here of covering and breaking down and analysing every paid ad that the AEW president, founder, and CEO Tony Khan has done on Impact Wrestling, and this week it was no different. This week, once again, it was very, very good. Now, my initial reaction last week, the one last week I thought, frankly, was the best one that he's done so far in terms of the character development, Tony Khan's personality coming out of himself and really coming out of his shell as this character in Impact Wrestling. And last week, when we spoke about it, the first thing I said was, Tony Khan's a heel character now in Impact Wrestling. He might not be a character for AEW going forward, but certainly for Impact, not only is he a character, but he's this big, outside, brash, loud heel. And that's exactly what he's playing up here, because last time in Impact Wrestling, he took that character to another level. He confirmed everything we were saying before about Tony Khan and Impact Wrestling. Tony Khan is a heel character right now. He's this billionaire heel. He doesn't care who he tells, who he POs in Impact Wrestling, because he's certainly making some enemies there. So Tony Khan's latest Impact Wrestling commercial saw him address his emotional decision making recently after some day drinking in preparation for AEW Beach Break, which of course is tonight on TNT. So we've got a bit of a couple of quotes here for what Tony Khan was saying last night in Impact Wrestling. He said, quote, "Hi Impact Wrestling fans, and welcome to the most exciting 3 minutes in this entire show, a paid ad for AEW Beach Break. Beach Break is going to be a great card, the kind of massive event you know nothing about at Impact Wrestling, but I do. I know all about big cards, big events, and I know I've upset a lot of people here at Impact with my comments. The games that I play here are fun and frankly out of spite. I like a fantasy league for me, like my own personal fantasy league. You might not like it, but the fact is I'm starting to make some decisions I never would have made before. I'm letting Jon Moxley go to New Japan for the first time in over a year and letting him defend his IWGP United States Championship. Would I have done that before you came here and pissed me off? Probably not. I'm starting to make all kinds of emotional decisions because I'm an emotional decision maker." Now, he threw some more slurs at Impact Wrestling before going through the card for tonight's Beach Break episode on TNT, and I loved it. If you know me, and if you've seen any of these videos when we've spoken about Tony Khan and these paid advertisements for Impact Wrestling, you'll know I'm a big, big fan of him. I am a really big fan of him. I think Tony Khan does a really good job. I think he's incredibly underrated as a promo, and I think, like has been the pattern for all of these paid advertisements by Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone, I really do think they get better every week. Now, arguably the best one, the peak, was the surprise that Tony Khan was actually inside the Impact Zone for that episode of Impact, the post-Hard to Kill episode of Impact a couple of weeks ago, when at the end of it he revealed he was in the Impact Zone. He was with AEW producer and coach Jerry Lynn. They sat at ringside for the main event. Jerry Lynn actually got involved in that match, allowed Private Party to become the number one contenders for the Impact Tag Team Championships. Maybe that was the best one just because of the sheer surprise factor of it and the surprise element of it, but I think at the moment, I really do, that Tony Khan, he's just, I mean, look at his face. Look at his face and his mannerisms during all of that. You can look at this from a couple of different ways at this point. Tony Khan, yes, last night during his paid advertisement on Impact on AXS TV, could be drunk in the literal sense that he was drunk on alcohol during this. I mean, he was on the beach break. He was having some fun away. I guess that's the kind of theme of this beach break episode on TNT. But also you can look at it from the metaphorical sense that Tony Khan was not only maybe drunk on alcohol, but he was drunk on power. And that's the character that Tony Khan is portraying right now in Impact Wrestling. Tony Khan at this point, yes, we've got the different borders. We've got the loose borders, as it were, between AEW and Impact Wrestling right now, and there's been a bit of back and forth. You've seen the likes of Don Callis and the Good Brothers go over to AEW and appear on Dynamite regularly, but on the other side of things, you've seen the likes of Matt Hardy, Private Party, and Kenny Omega appear on Impact Wrestling too. But Tony Khan's a different one. Yes, obviously Tony Khan, he is the president, the CEO, the founder of All Elite Wrestling, but the interesting thing when it comes to Tony Khan is that we don't see this version of Tony Khan in AEW. We see a completely different version and different character, and just a character altogether of Tony Khan in Impact Wrestling. And if you had any doubts in your mind that Tony Khan was playing this heel, cocky, arrogant, billionaire character, then last night's paid advertisement completely confirmed that. He's talking about not the Impact fans and Impact Wrestling not knowing about great cards and big events and big cards. He's talking about Impact Wrestling essentially being beneath him. Essentially, he's doing all of this, showing up inside the arena, doing these paid advertisements every single week, bragging about his accomplishments, bragging about AEW, bragging about his wealth, bragging about his investments, bragging about his whole lifestyle, essentially, and calling Impact Wrestling just his own personal fantasy league, like it's nothing. He can do what he wants and it's got no ramifications. He's a heel. There is no doubt in my mind he is a heel, and he is a full-blown heel character. And what I've really enjoyed over the past couple of weeks, especially when it comes to Tony Khan and these paid advertisements with Impact Wrestling, is you can tell every single week Tony Khan gets more and more and more comfortable with this character that he's easing himself into and rapidly becoming in front of our very eyes. I used to kind of take the mickey. I used to kind of mock Tony Khan in those first couple of paid advertisements on Impact, that he would stand there, arms folded like this, say the promo, just nod and turn very woodenly to Tony Schiavone and say, "Oh yeah, isn't that good, Tony?" blah, blah, blah. And then they go through the card. Now, over the course of the last few weeks, you can see the mannerisms. I mean, look at the face of Tony Khan there. Look at the way that, like I said, he was drunk not only on alcohol, but he was drunk on power last night. And all of it is just super interesting. And they are only like 3 minutes long in length, and they are very short. But every single week you watch it and you just come out of it thinking, where are they going to go next? Because every time I see these Tony Khan paid ads, the thing that just keeps ringing in my head is, they're teasing something. They're teasing something. And every single week you see a new development in this persona, in this character of Tony Khan. And it's just about wondering what they're going to do next. Because, of course, Tony Khan, as we mentioned, did appear in the Impact Zone a couple of weeks ago. He was part of that main event, the post Hard to Kill main event. And him and Jerry Lynn were at ringside. Tony Khan was there taking notes about tag teams. And is that the last time we're going to see Tony Khan inside of the Impact Zone, sitting ringside for Impact Wrestling? I really don't think so. And the more outlandish that Tony Khan is becoming on Impact over the course of the last few weeks, and the louder he is saying things, and the more outrageous stuff he's saying, and the more degrading stuff he's saying about Impact Wrestling, you have to think, in the world of pro wrestling, in the world of storyline, those comments can't just mean nothing. Eventually, his words are going to have to come back to bite him. Now, what does that mean? Maybe we are going to see a full-blown Impact Wrestling invasion of AEW Dynamite. Of course, we don't know about the status of AEW Beach Break tonight on TNT. We know we're going to have some Impact Wrestling influence on the show. Of course, we're going to have the Good Brothers involved in the main event, the Impact Tag Team Champions. They're teaming with Kenny Omega, who's of course going to have the Impact Wrestling Executive Vice President Don Callis in his corner. So maybe last night with Tony Khan saying that Impact Wrestling is beneath him, saying that Impact Wrestling doesn't know anything about big cards, big matches, and that Impact Wrestling is just his own personal fantasy league, maybe it's a case of these words are eventually going to come back to bite Tony Khan. Maybe it's a case of tonight, Beach Break, they've got very, very strong competition from NXT tonight with the Royal Rumble winner, Men's Royal Rumble 2021 winner Edge appearing on the show. AEW needs to do something big. They've got strong competition tonight, so maybe it is a case of this is the time that we see more Impact Wrestling stars come over to AEW. I'm not saying a full-blown invasion, but eventually Tony Khan's words during these paid advertisements have to catch up to him, right? They have to catch up to him. Tony Khan's calling himself, a literal shark. He's saying he's like the shark that Tony Schiavone is wearing on his head there, and he's saying that, look, if you come over to AEW, you're coming into shark-infested waters, and he's kind of building himself up, and you wonder, is he building himself up for an eventual fall when it comes to Impact Wrestling? Because these are strong words, these are loaded words. But just from the pure fan's point of view, and as a fan watching it, and as a fan consuming it, when I watched it earlier today, I thought it was brilliant. I really did think it's brilliant, and you can just tell that he's really enjoying himself, Tony Khan. And when you see, as a fan, when you see a performer, regardless of their experience, when you see them enjoying themselves and you see them having fun, getting into the character, as someone that's watching at home or wherever you're watching, you enjoy it yourself even more too. So I thought it was great. As I've mentioned before, personally, I think that I think Tony Khan is actually quite underrated as a promo. Every time people say, oh, I'm so surprised that Tony Khan's this good talker or this clear talker or someone that can actually cut up a decent promo, I always say it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that Tony Khan can be this very strong promo, because look at the success he's had in his business career. This is a guy that's got, he works with Fulham FC over here in the United Kingdom, obviously owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, AEW. He's also got a variety of other business interests around the world. He's got those stats analytics company that he helps with all the NFL teams. He's got other investments in Nashville, owns some hotels, helps with some music management and stuff like that. You don't get to that level of success in business without being someone who is a clear talker. You don't get to that level of success in life without someone that can speak clearly, with someone that can communicate clearly, and someone that just knows what they're talking about and can convey their message very well. Yes, obviously he comes from a very wealthy family. His father is a billionaire as well, just like Tony Khan is. But my point being, it shouldn't be much of a surprise that Tony Khan can be this clear talker, because that's what you have to be to get to that level of success in business. So I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was really interesting that Tony Khan also mentioned Jon Moxley's recent appearance for New Japan, and said that the reason he allowed Jon Moxley to make a US appearance from New Japan, which he wouldn't usually do. Previously, they could make some appearances for New Japan in Japan, but previously the AEW contracts were you can appear for other companies around the world, but in the United States you're exclusive to AEW, apart from certain people that can do select indie dates. But Tony Khan tied that all up and said, look, the only reason I'm allowing Jon Moxley to make this US appearance from New Japan is because of Impact Wrestling. They're making me emotional. They've changed my mood. They've the things that they've done and the things that they've said, and the Good Brothers and Don Callis getting involved with AEW has made me a very emotional decision maker. And that was the key word that he kept using there, talking about emotional decisions, emotional decision maker. It does make you wonder, what other emotional decisions, what other decisions will the emotional decision maker make over the course of the next few weeks? It does make you think that they're setting up for this big decision or this big announcement from Tony Khan and Impact Wrestling when it comes to an AEW wrestler or an AEW event. That could lead nicely into Tony Khan saying, you know what, I am an emotional decision maker. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to allow Kenny Omega to compete at Impact Wrestling Rebellion in April, and I'm going to allow him to defend the AEW World Championship in a match against the Impact World Champion Rich Swann for both championships at that show. It does kind of all lead together and all kind of feel like it is moving in that kind of direction, doesn't it? But overall, as always, I absolutely loved this Tony Khan paid ad. They are certainly a highlight most weeks on Impact Wrestling, and this week was no different. But I thought it was fantastic, and if you can see that, I don't know if you can see in that picture, but Tony Schiavone, in addition to wearing the shark hat, was also wearing sharks on his frames that are eating his lenses for his sunglasses. I mean, how great is that? How great is that? So I really enjoyed it, and I always look forward to it every single week. I think Tony Khan does a fantastic job, and I love the heel, arrogant, billionaire character he's becoming in Impact Wrestling. It's a lot of fun to watch. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Tony Khan's latest paid ad on Impact Wrestling on AXS TV? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about Impact Wrestling, AEW, WWE, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved with the community. Drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. Really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.